More typically, what do you do?
More typically, what'll happen is I'll get a call from either a producer or director or my agent telling me that there's either a TV show or a film that needs a music supervisor. And I'll look at a script, I'll go through the script, and sometimes music's scripted, sometimes it's not. And most of the time it's not. And what'll happen is we'll sit down and have a creative conversation. Where do you see the music going? What do you see the sensibility of the movie or the television show? What artists do you see? What composer do you want? I mean, music supervisor gets involved in all that stuff. So then we'll go to smash cut to the movie's being shot, rough cut. I'll go sit in an editing room with the director. Producer's not there because the director gets his cuts first. And the big difference between movies and television is movies are director driven, television's producer driven. So it's a huge difference. So you sit in an editing room with the director and you go through the film and he'll tell you what he wants, and most of the time the editors and the director put in some music that they like, and it's usually stuff that's incredibly expensive and just unattainable, especially within the confines of their budget. They'll put in Led Zeppelin shit, they'll put in all kinds of stuff, And I can't tell you how many editing rooms I've been in where, like 3-4 years ago, I heard the same fucking Moby song 50 times. And it was like they used the same thing. They all had this great idea about how it was supposed to be used, So you'll sit there with the director and you'll go through a creative dialogue, and it's the amazing thing about being a music supervisor is the ability to pick a song and match it to picture, and it changes everything. You can have a scene that's pretty flat and has no life to it, and you put a song to it, and it elevates it to another place. Because again, it evokes something in the human spirit that makes it like this different thing. It's a different animal. So you'll sit there and you'll go through the process, and it depends on, a lot of it depends on how focused the director is and how much he knows about music. I mean, because everybody's a musical expert. They really are, because everybody's got a radio in their car. So it's like, this guy will say to me, well, look, I want Maroon 5. I'm like, well, dude, come on. It's like, everybody's going to use Maroon 5. You don't want to use Maroon 5. Well, I want to use Maroon 5. So you go down the road with Maroon 5, and by the time it's over with, it's like Maroon 5 is already done. You got to find somebody else. So it's, again, you have to be ahead of the curve. You have to know, at least in your own gut, what you think is going to happen musically in the next 6 months. And you have to listen and listen and listen and listen. You just have to be aware musically as to what's out there, who's got what the indie stuff is, what the alt stuff is, what the hip hop stuff is. Hip hop stuff's really hard to cut to because there's so much vocal stuff. The tracks are great, but the vocal stuff interferes with dialogue all the time, so it's really hard to cut to unless it's a montage where there's nothing going on except action, and you can use hip hop music really, really well. So that aspect of picking music for a film or a television show is more of what a music supervisor does than this. But I wanted to show you this because it's making music, and I got lucky, but making music is why I got into this thing. Music is, again, it's this amazing art form, so picking music's hard. It's really hard.
What if you just needed car chase music? I mean, what do you do with that?
Car chase music is there's all kinds of stuff you can use. You can use techno stuff, hip hop stuff works.
Well, you don't have to use a name artist to do that.
No.
You can just go to a music library and
you go to a library. There is such an abundance of guys and women that have created music in their home with the advent of Pro Tools and just the ability to make music in your house. There are so many libraries now, and there's just this abundance of resource that, I just finished a movie, little $6 million movie, for the guy who just produced $1 Million Baby. It's a story about this women volleyball team. They were women strippers who became a volleyball team, and they became like, but it's like, you know, you wouldn't think it's like a cool story, but it turns into like this really cool, like, you know, we succeeded, you know, we left our past behind and we became like these professional competitive volleyball people. And what we did was, we went to these libraries, and we made deals with all of them, and you know, there were 40 music starts in this thing, and we pared it down. We got it to 22 songs, and you know, we made amazing deals with these people because you know, they all want their stuff used, you know. So we got 20 songs for $20,000.
Do you make those deals?
Mm-hmm.
So you take care of the licensing too?
Well, I don't take care of the licensing. I take care of the confirmation letters and the initiating of the licenses, and then they have their legal operation take care of all the licenses.
Well, if somebody wanted to get into this field, I mean, some of these students may find this interesting. Is there specific skills they should try to obtain?
Yeah, you know, it's music licensing and music clearance is a whole, it's an aspect of music supervision that nobody likes to address because it's paper driven and it's number driven, and not a lot of people like doing that kind of stuff. But if you want to get into that, you again, resources, relationships are important. Knowing music is important. Paralegal stuff might be a little important. Attention to detail is really important. Being incredibly organized is really important because there's a ton of paperwork. Although what's happened in the last couple of years is you don't have to fax anybody anymore, you just email them, you know, and so it's an easier way to do stuff. But you know, it's a vital part of music supervision and music use in television and films, and it's a growing avenue for sure.
So how do you acquire the skills of knowing what music fits what, and how the music is going to enhance a visual?
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it's all about,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is that just experience?
I think, well, part of it's experience, but I think that, like I said when I started, you know, we all sit and you know, watch a scene or listen to a song and we'll say, God, that's a great song for a film. Like, I don't know how many phone calls I've gotten going, you know, God, this is a great song for a motion picture. And I think a lot of it is gut. A lot of it is you know, creative instinct that you either have or you don't have.
Yeah, but you hear a song and you think visual?
Sometimes, probably 75% of the time.